If you have a minor child here in the state of Indiana, you may have asked yourself at one point, can I change my child's name legally? What does that process look like? What kind of consent from the other parent is required? First and foremost, when parties are going through a divorce, that is not grounds to try and modify a child's name out of the divorce decree. Now, if a party wants to change their name, maybe reverting back to their former the name that they had before they got married, that can be done through a divorce, but not a child's name. And this is something that we sometimes see, and it's usually going to get knocked down. There is a formal name change process. Anyone can file to change their name or to change the name of their minor child. There's going to be a lot more hoops to jump through when you're trying to change the name of a minor child. The first and foremost is that you have to make the other parent aware that this petition is pending. There's all kinds of service requirements when we are attempting to change even our own names, let alone the name of a minor child, because that other parent has an opportunity to raise any objections they may have to the child's name being changed. Now, if both parties are in agreement, it might be appropriate to execute a consent form, a consent to the name change, have both parties be present at the final hearing on the name change, and let the judge know, no objection. You'll want to be sure that if you are attempting to change your child's name, that you are doing so for legitimate reasons, that you're not doing so to defraud creditors or to hide anything in their name, or if they've ever had pending or at one point criminal matters, that you're not doing it to try and evade any kind of legal or formal systems. So those are kind of the burdens that you'll have to prove. You'll also have to prove that, like I said, this is a legitimate request. And so it starts with filing the petition in the county where you and the child live. And then we move into the next phase where you provide proper service. And that will be publishing a notice in a regularly disseminated periodical, fancy way of saying maybe a newspaper or a journal or a magazine within the county where the petition's been filed, has to run for a certain amount of time, has to have certain kinds of information, so that if anyone had an objection to the name change and they saw that notice in the paper, they would know when that hearing is going to take place and that they should bring their formal objections to the judge. But generally speaking, we give parents a lot of deference to raise their children. So if all of the proper procedures have been followed with a name change and you get to that final hearing and you're asking the judge, you're providing your evidence and your testimony why your child's name should be changed, it might get granted. At that point, once you have the order granting your child's change of name, you'll want to take that to the appropriate entities to make sure that it's formally changed on identifying documents like a passport, social security card, that sort of thing. If you want to talk about this, feel free to give us a call.